Hey, Chris, this is Robert Ian with ConquerChange.com. This is one of those weeks to keep your head about you. Those of you that listen regularly know that I track about 30 stocks on a regular basis. About 2 weeks ago, I purchased some additional stocks, thinking at that time we were at a historic low. The very next day, some of those stocks began to decline even more, and over the next week lost up to half their value from already historic lows. Some of these are major mining companies. Some of them are juniors with millions of ounces of gold in the ground, and they're all for sale at pennies, nickels, and dimes on the dollar. Oversold doesn't begin to describe the current situation. At times like these, I think it's easy to look at what's happening today or this week and then project that frightening scenario far into the future, somehow thinking commodities will continue to go down forever. This is the time. This is the moment to step outside of that negative, conventional, downward spiral thinking that recent events have created and to take your stand. Let's do this. Let's divide the market into three sectors. Commodities, which include gold, silver, base metals, energy, food, agriculture, and their related shares. Then you've got equities, which is the stock market in general. And finally, you've got the U.S. dollar. These three sectors are a lot like the three-shell game, with 3 half walnut shells and a little pea. The object of that game is to guess where the pea is as the 3 shells get moved around. The person running the game tries to fool you into picking the wrong shell, which they imply is the right shell. They confuse you with poetic language like, "This is a little game of hanky-poo. There's 2 shells for me and 1 for you. Hi diddle diddle, it's the one in the middle." Of course, no matter what shell you pick, you always get the wrong one. You might win once or twice along the way to build up your confidence, but at the end of the game, you always lose your money. The fatal flaw in playing the 3-shell game is believing the person in charge has your best interests in mind. The fatal flaw is thinking you can win a game that is rigged from the start. But if you understand how the game is played, you can use that knowledge to your advantage. You can outthink the person moving the shells around if you know the sleight of hand involved. So we've got our first shell, commodities, on a downward slide since March, taken down hard in July and given a waterboarding this last week to simulate drowning. Currently, a very unattractive asset class. Then you've got our second shell, the stock market, with massive bailouts amounting to over $2 trillion in the last 8 weeks. One could reasonably anticipate the market would drop like a rock. But if commodities are out of favor and money is coming out of the market, where's the only place left to put all that money, at least temporarily? Presto, it's the third shell, the U.S. dollar, which has miraculously risen from 71 on the U.S. dollar index to an amazing 86. For the moment, the dollar looks really strong. But will it last? Are you willing to project far into the future that the dollar will remain at this level? Or do you think all that money in the dollar will try to protect itself and make its way into the other shells in this game, namely commodities and to a lesser degree the market in general? And with those trillions of new dollars that have been printed the past few weeks, how much additional hyperinflation is going to end up under those other shells? So the choice is yours. We've got 3 shells: commodities, equities, and the dollar. It's a little game of hanky-poo. There's 2 shells for me and 1 for you. Hi diddle diddle, it's the one in the middle. Which shell are you going to pick? Until next time, this is Robert Ian with Conquer Change.